Hello, welcome to the North Miami Beach Public Library Children's Department Storytime Online. We're so glad you're here. We're going to get started with our hello song. Feel free to clap and sing with me. Hello, bonjour, buenos dias. Good day, guten tag, konnichiwa. Ciao, shalom, dobry dzień. Hello to all the children of the world. We live in different places from all around the world. We speak in many different ways. Though some things might be different, we're children just the same. And we all like to sing and play. Say with me. Hello, bonjour, buenos dias. Good day, guten tag, konnichiwa. Ciao, shalom, dobry dzień. Hello to all the children of the world. There's children in the deserts and children in the towns and children who live by the sea. If we could meet each other to run and sing and play, then oh, what friends we all could be. Last time, sing with me. Hello, bonjour, buenos dias. Good day, guten tag, konnichiwa. Ciao, shalom, dobry dzień. Hello to all the children of the world. Good job! Let's read a story about a dog. Dog Breath, the Horrible Trouble with Halitosis by Dave Plinkett. There once was a dog named Hallie who lived with the Tosis family. Halitosis was a very good dog, but she had a big problem. Halitosis had horrible breath. Whenever Halitosis opened her mouth, horrible things happened. When the children took Halitosis for a walk, everyone else walked on the other side of the street. Even skunks avoided Halitosis. But the real trouble started one day when Grandma Tosis stopped by for a cup of tea, and Hallie jumped up to say hello. Mr. and Mrs. Tosis were not amused. Something has to be done about that smelly dog, they said. The next day, Mr. and Mrs. Tosis decided to find a new home for Hallie. The children knew the only way they could save their dog was to get rid of her bad breath. So they took Halitosis to the top of a mountain that had a breathtaking view. They hoped that the breathtaking view would take Hallie's breath away, but it didn't. Next, the children took Halitosis to a very exciting movie. They hoped all the excitement would leave Hallie breathless, but it didn't. Finally, the children took Halitosis to a carnival. They hoped that Hallie would lose her breath on the speedy roller coaster. Woo-hoo-hoo. But that idea stunk too. The plans to change Hallie's bad breath had failed. Now only a miracle could save Halitosis. Sadly, the three friends said goodnight, unaware that a miracle was just over the horizon. Later that night, when everyone was sound asleep, two sneaky burglars crept into the Tosis house. The two burglars were tiptoeing through the dark, quiet rooms when suddenly they came upon Halitosis. Yikes, whispered one burglar. It's a big, mean, scary dog. Ah, don't be silly, whispered the other burglar. That's only a cute little fuzzy puppy. The two burglars giggled at the sight of such a friendly little dog. That dog couldn't hurt a fly, whispered one burglar. Come here, Poochie Poochie, whispered the other. So Halitosis came over and gave the burglars a nice big kiss. Slurp! The next morning, the Tosis family awoke to find two burglars passed out cold on their living room floor. It was a miracle! The Tosis family got a big reward for turning in the crooks, and soon Halitosis was the most famous crime-fighting dog in the country. In the end, Mr. and Mrs. Tosis changed their minds about finding a new home for Hallie. They decided to keep their wonderful watchdog even after. Because life without halitosis Just wouldn't make any sense. Good job! Let's read another dog book. This one's called Stay, a Top Dog Story. Ben thought his dog Buster was the best dog in the whole world. But Mom and Dad were not so sure. Buster! Buster was exhausting. I think we need a vacation, said Mom. Vacation! Ben couldn't wait until he remembered the last trip. Bird World. Buster! Buster will stay with Grandpa, said Mom and Dad firmly. But Grandpa doesn't know all the things that Buster likes to do, argued Ben. Then why don't you tell Grandpa in a note, asked Dad. Ben found some paper and his pencils and crayons and started to write. Likes, belly tickles, dog biscuits with peanut butter, sleeping on Dad's pillow. Dislikes, thunder, cat farts, sad movies. After he had written his note, Ben took Buster for a walk. He saw a squirrel. Eek! Woo! After that, he decided to write another note. Don't let Buster off the leash if you see any of the following. A squirrel or a rabbit or a bird or a bigger dog or a car or a wolf or a ladybug or the moon or a cloud or the moose or a flower or a pine cone or a leaf. Whew. In fact, the more Ben thought about it, the more notes he decided to write. A few things for Buster. When should Buster have a bath? Best spots for a scratch in order of preference. You know you're hugging Buster too hard when. And by the time the family was ready to set off, Ben had more notes than he could count. I feel like I've forgotten something important, Ben said. Well, you can always send it to me on a postcard, replied Grandpa. Now have a great time. Ben hugged Buster goodbye, careful not to squeeze too tight. Ben did have a great time, but he kept remembering things he'd forgotten to tell Grandpa, so he wrote them all down on postcards. Postcard 1. Things Buster shouldn't eat. Eggshells, candy wrappers, chocolate, peanut butter from the jar, furniture, compost. What is Buster dreaming of? Chasing squirrels. Don't wake him. He'll be sad. Tongue out means he's dreaming about dinner. But he was still sure he had forgotten something important. When Mom felt sick after eating a bad hot dog, it reminded Ben of something to tell Grandpa. Diagnosis chart. What is wrong with Buster? Sunburn, lovesick, just needs to pee, ate a toy dinosaur. And when Dad took a wrong turn on the way to see a famous waterfall, Ben wrote another note. If Buster gets lost, where will he be? Waiting outside school, sleeping under a tree, knocking over garbage cans, chasing the mailman, chasing deer in the woods. But it was only then that he remembered the very important thing he had forgotten, and he wrote one last note as quickly as he could. Important! Never take Buster to the post office. He knows that's where a mailman comes from. Love, Ben. Danger. But the note arrived too late. Grandpa and Buster were already on their way to the post office to pick up a package. No! Buster! Ruff, 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 ruff. Buster was banned from the post office, and Grandpa thought that perhaps it was time to cure the dog of his bad behavior. So he began to train Buster. I have a bone for you if you listen. Sit, sit, sit. It was hard work. Good boy, now stay. Stay, stay. Very hard work. Stay, stay. But Grandpa knew that hard work always pays off in the end. Great work, Buster! When Ben arrived home, Grandpa had a note of his own ready for him. What we've been up to. Belly rubs, walks/runs, dog training, lots and lots. Sit, good boy. Long, relaxing baths. But most of all, we've been missing you. Ben couldn't help it. He hugged Grandpa and Buster as hard as he could. In the weeks that followed, Grandpa gave Ben a few extra notes about how to train Buster. No, Buster, sit. No jumping in the bath. Good boy. Stay, Buster. The squirrel is our friend. And when they worked so well that Mom even said Buster could come along on the next family vacation, this time he didn't bark or fart in the car. And he didn't chase any birds at all. He was a very well-behaved dog. Well, most of the time. Buster! Good job. Let's read our last book about dogs. Plenty of love to go around. I am Plum, the one and only special Plum. Emma and Rupert are my family, and I just love them. When they say I am their special one, I feel loved all over. Sam and Gracie live next door. They're my best friends, and I am their best one and only. But one day, Gracie said, "We've got a surprise for you, Plum." "This is Binky," said Sam. He was holding a cat. Cats are not my favorite things. "He loves you, Plum. Don't you love him?" asked Gracie. "We love him," said Sam. I was so happy to go to the park. The park is just for dogs. "I say," said my friend Esther, "is that a cat with you?" I couldn't believe it. "Who's your new friend?" said Rocket. "He is not my friend," I said. "Well, he's following you," said Bean. "Scat, cat," I said. When I got home, guess who was there? "It's nice to have a cat around," said Emma. "No, it isn't. It isn't." The cat followed me everywhere. Sniffed where I sniffed, rolled where I rolled, peed where I peed, stretched when I stretched. I couldn't get away. I went to the shed to hide, but the cat followed me there too. When the door slammed shut, we were stuck. "Meow," he said, and off he went. "Cats," I said. "No one will ever find me." But I was wrong about that because Binky came back with Sam and Gracie. "Binky saved you," said Sam. They told Emma and Rupert. "Clever Binky," said Rupert. "He's so clever," said Sam. "He was just a cat. There's nothing special about that." "Oh, look at Binky," said Gracie as he ran up a tree. "He can do anything," said Sam. "It's true. It's really true," I thought. Now Binky was the special one. I thought he was a show-off, clever cat. "He's ruining everything," I told Esther. "Have you tried being friends?" asked Jakey. "I can't be friends with a cat," I told Bean. "What if they love him more than they love me?" I asked Rocket. "Oh, there's plenty of love to go around," he said. But I wasn't so sure. Sam and Gracie were watching TV. The cat went outside. He came back when he saw me, so I pushed the door shut and leaned against the cat flap. "Stop following me," I told him. "Stay out till I say so." I guarded the door. When it started to rain, I couldn't leave him out in the rain, could I? But was there enough love to go around? Was there? Just then, Emma and Rupert came. Oh, poor Binky. They found little Binky, and then they saw me in the front of the cat flap. I looked at Emma, and she looked at me. She knew what I had done. "Now, Plummy," Emma said, "you will always be my special one, but you're going to have to be nice to the cat. There's room in our hearts for him and for you. You've got a big heart, haven't you, Plummy?" said Emma. And suddenly I could feel it growing. It grew bigger and bigger. I have a big heart. I do. And now I know there's room enough for love for two. In fact, there's plenty of love to go around and around. Yes, there's plenty of love to go around.